where you're looking at light that was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location, you see the engineer light flashing inside of my bedroom. This is exhibiting the demon possession of those that just flew over me in a helicopter. Where you're looking at light that was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location, you see the engineer light flashing inside of my bedroom. This is exhibiting the demon possession of those that just flew over me in a helicopter. Helicopter. Was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location, you see the engineer light flashing inside of my bedroom. This is exhibiting the demon possession of those that just flew over me in a helicopter.
This is speaking to the presence of FedEx during this video that I captured at 6:25 p.m. FedEx is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and FedEx represents the people of the state. This is malice and impunity exhibited by the people of the state, utilizing a commercial means to engage in the same exact criminal conduct, which is a threat to your life and psychologically tormenting to the ordinary target individual. It's also a sex offense that FedEx is engaging in with real-time knowledge, doing so while I am inside of my private space, documenting the criminal conduct. Indeed, LAPD is flying, stalking in helicopter.
This is the light source that's still in alignment with my apartment. Remember,
and this is
where you're looking at light that was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location, you see the engine.
And that is impossible light activity that's appearing above my head. I have multiple shadows on the ceiling. All right, there are multiple shadows here, and then you can see concentrated engineer light moving all across the wall. And the mirror, you can even see my shadow appear in a distance on the wall. And then you have a third-party group stalker that will arrive and deliver a package as though there is some separation between the ongoing continuous pattern of conduct. And FedEx is arriving and doing so again. The time is captured at 6:25 is when LAPD is crossing path. Pursuant to a well-documented pattern of group stalking, as they are continuously engaged in state surveillance. And they're engaged in state surveillance. This is group stalking by a government, and its demon possession is exhibited as a engaging group stalking using a helicopter specifically. This is what the demon possessors are doing in California. And their demon possession is exhibited through the light activity that the entity surrounds me with. And FedEx is arriving, engaging in that criminal facilitation and participating in what is demonic activity, which is state terrorism that FedEx is engaging in and is facilitating. And with real-time knowledge, they're also engaged in surveillance on the venue of the internet. And FedEx is not ignorantly engaging in that. As I spoke to directly in my video documentation, FedEx is a heavily documented third-party group stalker. Its workforce are demon-possessed, engaged in state monitoring, engaged in terrorism in concert with the entity. And with regard to documenting, just for illustrative purposes, the entity is maintaining a light source directly over me at around the same time as I remain inside of, well, more than one venue, but I will use, let's see, 18. I believe I captured this video today. Again, the light source is over me at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. This is a state facilitating venue where there is no sun that's going to be in the same position in alignment to me setting, as you see it in alignment to me through my bedroom window this evening, where the people of the state that live at the crime scene, all 59 units filled with third parties, they're terrorists and they're sex offenders. While you're looking also then at that light activity that's appearing above my head as I'm capturing that light activity above me, and the maintenance with regard to duration of time and juxtaposition of a crime scene such as Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, where the sun is in no position to maintain perfect alignment with me at both addresses. Neither would this be the sun as I'm in Los Angeles, as I spoke to. I'm at this location at 11 o'clock in the morning, like I documented yesterday. And as I stand in this same parking lot, where I'm standing at yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning, this, which is supposedly the sun, is directly over my head. And all I'm doing is I'm inside of my bedroom facing the same parking lot at 6 in the evening, 6:25 in the evening. So no, that's not the sun. An additional aspect of the analysis is to show you at around the same time of year, this is not possibly the sun that you're looking at outside of my bedroom window while you're hearing the amplified audible activity of a terrorist that are the LAPD that are group stalking. That's the legal relevant. That's what is legally significant about the sound of that helicopter. It is pursuant to a heavily documented pattern of remaining. This is surveillance that's underway using helicopters. It's occurring in the workplace as well. And it's also used to target me based on any and everything that I do, including both my physical movements and my operation of my communication device, as I document this criminal activity that the government is engaging in concert with the people of the state, including FedEx, who arrives in relevant position under a light source, which is the malicious guise of a company that is providing a facilitation to the system of state surveillance. And that is identified through what is the unnatural environment. So I want you to see the light source that's in alignment to me, mindful of this light activity that is appearing on my ceiling inside of my bedroom, which again, at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, that's not even sunlight. So on its face, it's impossible light activity. It's prima facie. In addition, there is no such light activity that's going to appear in my bedroom while I'm looking at the so-called sun outside of the window of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton, California. Again, this video is captured at the top today, 2024, while FedEx, which represents the people of the state, are group stalking, and doing so in concert with the LAPD.
This is the light source that's still in alignment with my apartment. Remember, I'm standing in this parking lot at 11:09 in the morning. It is currently 6:25 in the afternoon.
And the entity is maintaining this
where you're looking at light that was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location, you see the engineer.
That's the same video. I just concentrated the aspect of what is that light activity. This is a hallmark. This is identifying a state pattern because the impossible light activity is a hallmark with regard to identifying the demonic methods whereby a government is keeping you under surveillance, is stalking you in that specific environment. In other words, keeping that very engineered, that very peculiar, that terrorizing, that unique, that scientifically impossible environment. It is always surrounding you in concert with that entity and using commercial means such as what FedEx, that's exactly what FedEx represents. This is what the corrupt law enforcement agencies represent. Documented heavy stalking in this terrorizing environment, which is what I've been capturing. It is the substance of the P.O.C. I want to show you again. So now what you're looking at is this light source. At 6:25 in the afternoon, okay? And same time of year analysis applies at 6:28 in the evening, excuse me, same time of year analysis, June 21st, 2022, the light source is remaining
Right, the entity tried it again every
while
single.
I'm inside of what is Arrowhead Regional Medical Center after suffering a kidnapping. The entity that is stalking, engaging in kidnapping, making up, literally manufacturing information and facts with the people of the state that are group stalkers. Okay. And then they make up information, engaging, kidnapping you, and then criminally defaming you. And while keeping you in the facilities where you're subject to federal group stalking and monitoring, they are engaged in criminal defamation while the pattern of conduct is underway. And that's what is shown while you're looking at impossible light activity that is not sunlight, that's going to shoot horizontally through a window. And the window is covered up. So this is engineered light that's engaging in that peculiar conduct, that concentrated light that's appearing at a distance as though it's shooting like a laser horizontally through the window. But then you also are recognizing the pattern above, like you see above, the pattern of what is engineered light that's also hitting surfaces and appearing on the outside of the buildings. None of that is sunlight. And this is, again, while you're looking at the sun that's outside of my apartment, there's no sunlight that's going to appear inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. There's no sun that's in alignment with the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center at the same time also. This is the pattern of what is both distinct methods of stalking with light and stalking with engineered light. And it's present in the environment because everyone in that environment is engaged in state surveillance, which is group stalking, and it is demonic. Okay, this is the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center.
See what is directed light. This is inside of the room at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center where I remain kidnapped. And this is impossible light activity. That's what this is. Across the room, blinds closed, so it's reaching through the crevice. That's the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. And here's the fake sun as I captured in images. All right, an impossible occurrence. This is called in California.
All right, so you're looking at what is the light source that's in perfect alignment with me. This is the pattern. This is where I'm present in Los Angeles. I'm present from morning. I wake up and I go to sleep here in Los Angeles. And this is where I've also documented the sunrise. And then I'm showing you a body of evidence like I demonstrated earlier today on March 25th, 2022. Also relevant to same time of year analysis. Give or take even daylight savings time, it's only an hour. There is no what is an explanation that will under any circumstances explain how that which is supposedly the sun, which is a gaseous ball of fire that is not hovering in alignment to us, in alignment to the 3-story, well, I'm on the 3rd floor of an apartment building, as opposed to being a sun that is above us, that's never going to be in any position to aim light horizontally through windows. Okay, this is not a 3-story building. This is this is a ground level building, and the entity is engaging in this light that's appearing on the inside. This is stalking with light, and it's entirely demonic. It is a prima facie case of federal group stalking and monitoring, and it's occurring inside of a state facilitating venue. And then you're also looking at what is the presence of the light source that's not possibly the sun, and the entity is engaging in a pattern that I was subject to both before and after I was kidnapped by this entity that is to date still engaging in this criminal system, and it is facilitated by the same demons who are stalking in helicopters, who then engage in what is kidnapping, which is what I was documenting in June of 2022. This is why the chief of police and the entire Ontario Police Department shall be disbanded. I even went to the extent of documenting the light source directly over that Ontario Police Department. That entire department is demon infected, which is the same exact situation that we're faced with here in Los Angeles County. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and the Los Angeles Police Department are engaged in what is obsessive surveillance, group stalking, revealing what is a mental illness. And that is a public safety concern where you have the mentally ill in positions of law enforcement that are engaging in what is demonic, which is synonymous with what is psychotic criminal conduct, antithetical to the role that they're supposed to serve in America, in society, amongst American citizens. They are literally the criminal. And that is on its face shown through the ongoing documentation, accumulation of evidence of what they are remaining everywhere that I'm at. And everything that I do with regard to the presence of the state in helicopters in particular. But this is a well-documented pattern that goes beyond just the stalking on its face in a helicopter, which is peculiar. The entity, it is so peculiar, it's readily identifiable, especially in the specific environment where the sun is not going to be present from beginning to the end of the day. The sun is not coexisting, maintaining presence in its zenith over my head, as I documented on March 25th, 2022 at 11 o'clock in the morning. And also remaining in this same position in alignment to me, for example, at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, with this, which is also present with the engineered
where you're
light,
looking at,
which is what I'm showing you. This is the pattern of stalking with engineered light. All right. This is the pattern of conduct of the specific environment inside of my apartment. This is the pattern of what is engineer light inside of a facility where the criminal system is underway. And the hallmark is that the entity is group stalking above in a helicopter as I'm capturing. And the entity is engaged in group stalking, the same entity that is the Ontario Police Department engaged in kidnapping, as I documented on June 18, 2022, where they are group stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because this criminal system is so heavily and thoroughly and comprehensively documented and cataloged. It is literally revealing the delusion that the entity is revealing about itself, while it is to date still engaging in what is stalking me. As I just continue to notate every time the entity is engaged in an act of terrorism, that is communicating a threat by virtue of the creation of audible activity, which is serving a criminal system, and it is facilitating the group stalking that is underway by the people of the state. And all of the entity that is remaining in relevant position at Alvarado Gardens is engaging in group stalking in concert with the people of the state. And I want to make sure that I document again the entity that is group stalking, and this it is, excuse me, including all who you see here, who are all going to federal prison, living at the crime scene, engaging in state surveillance with that entity that uses helicopters to terrorize the American citizen. That is also referencing myself, documenting that. And this is how you have third parties that have nothing to do with the property, capable of coming onto the grounds, engaging in what is demonic, that is engineered light, that's moving across the ground, while a third party whose name I don't know, you don't have to know to engage in crossing path, to engage in terrorism via directed light, to engage in concerted conduct with the corrupt law enforcement agency that's consistently engaged in the P.O.C. And what am I referencing? Let's go over that again. I documented the act of terrorism. This engineer light that you see inside of my apartment on my ceiling is exactly what I documented, while a demon operating a vehicle in the name of Lyft is crossing path, engaging in criminal conduct in concert with the LAPD. That's the significance of what I documented this morning. And so I want to revisit that because it's the same light activity. It's the same pattern of conduct, in other words, that I'm documenting inside of my apartment, where the light activity is flashing above my head while I am in my bedroom. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct right there. So this is engineered light. Sunlight is never ricocheting off of your car, swiping across the asphalt. Look at this, where you can see the engineered light's going to appear in the blue paint, moving across the asphalt, while this demon operating a vehicle is engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring under the malicious guise of picking up, first of all, a third-party group stalker at the crime scene where the light source is over my head. All of the elements of monitoring are underway. And by the way, this is occurring at what is 11:43 in the morning. You just got through looking at what is evidence of the light source that remains over me as late as what is 6 o'clock in the evening, which is never the natural environment. Again, pay attention to the pattern.
Where you're looking at light that was appearing above my head, just like you see here. This is impossible light activity, multiple shadows. The sun that's over me at the same exact location you see.
Okay, I'm at the same property as I'm downstairs in the parking lot, and at 11:43 in the morning until after 6 o'clock, and I'm at the same property. That is speaking to, let's count again, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours later. The entity is under no circumstances in the natural environment. This is the specific environment where criminal conduct of what is state surveillance, and the hallmark is this engineered light conduct, which is exactly what this Lyft driver is engaging in, and he is doing it as the entity representing all of the people of the state. It's a state system, and the people of the state engage in the state system in concert with the state, which is what the LAPD represent, while they are engaging in criminal conduct, group stalking in helicopter, as I document upon walking out of my office.
Maria Solis Alvarez going to federal prison, P.O.C. This is crossing path. All right, and the entity is under in the specific environment where I'm showing you a light source that's over my head at the same. I'm sending a text message to your company's employees while at 7 o'clock in the evening.
The light source is directly over me. Okay, seconds later,
is engaged in criminal facility,
illustrating the impossible light activity, because this is a well-documented pattern. So that's why I did a mini video just concentrating on the light activity, and that's exactly what I did inside of my bedroom, where I'm at the same property, and after 6 p.m., that which is not possibly the sun is still in alignment to me at the same exact property, Alvarado Gardens, speaking to a state system that is ceaselessly underway, and the same exact corrupt agency is flying over my apartment environment in a helicopter, and another commercial actor is present in the name of that company, which is exposing it to civil and criminal prosecution, and that driver, by the way, to federal prison. And there, the engineer light is flashing all about inside of my bedroom, and I'm on the third floor. There is no light activity. There is no vehicle driven on Alvarado Street. There's nothing other than demons that are pacing around in engineered light and impossible light activities flashing inside of my bedroom while I am capturing the video evidence. And this is speaking to the public safety concern, because a psychopath is highly delusional, continuously stalking in such an obvious manner with knowledge and continuously doing so. Yes, this is the groundwork for what is demilitarization and the education requirement for the corrupt law enforcement agencies in the state of California.
This is demonic pacing, like you saw Susana Martinez doing yesterday in the afternoon, 8AZE438.
Okay, that engineer light, again, this is a documented pattern, and I will again conclude this with what you've seen. For example, universal waste engaging in. It's an impossible occurrence for it to happen once. This is a pattern once you have it happen more than one time, by the way. This is speaking to, as I'm just giving you what is another video for you to witness with your own eyes, what is impossible light activity.
While Ty-M is in relevant position as well.
And it's in concert with the corrupt agency, the LAPD as well, which is what I documented on this day, April 29, 2022, where, by the way, the sun would never be present over this property on April 29, this is April 29, 2024. On April 29, 2022, if there would if that was the natural environment that I documented in 2022 on the same day, then there would be no sun over me, and under no circumstances over me in Los Angeles. And under no circumstances is the sun driving a vehicle under the sun going to create what is light moving across a building. That's an act of terrorism. This is what Lyft is documented engaging in. And also, while it's occurring inside of my bedroom, this is what FedEx is engaging in. Understand that. This act of terrorism via directed light is for the criminal purpose of monitoring you, both while they are crossing path in vehicles and this engineer light is moving all about the surfaces, and also while no third party is capable of moving a vehicle inside of my bedroom on the third floor, and that impossible occurrence is still coexisting with criminal presence, criminal facilitation. You are in the same way engaged in what is demonic, okay, inexplicable in the natural, but it is in every way revealing the demon possession and the malice with which a government is engaging in criminal conduct in concert with the people of the state. And FedEx shall be prosecuted for what is terrorism via directed light. And FedEx just represents the people of the state. You're going to drain the pockets of every commercial actor. You're going to prosecute all the people of the state by federal prison, all who live here. And you're going to disband and federally imprison those that are stalking in helicopters. You're disbanding. You're demilitarizing. And you're also enforcing what is an education requirement. Okay, this is the impossible light activity while a demon is operating a truck for purposes of emptying the dumpster, which is nothing other than criminal facilitation and federal group stalking and monitoring every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you go to federal prison for such systematic facilitation. This is capturing the P.O.C.
They are engaging in monitoring, and
the light source is going to be seen through the window of this vehicle. There you go. It's right there. That's the light source directly over me. And this is impossible light activity that is never going to be sunlight while you're driving. I don't know why it's doing this. While you're driving under the so-called sun.
Space as well. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they're engaged in this act of terrorism, coming onto the grounds, engaging in the criminal elements, monitoring with the state and LAPD. That is the impossible light moving across the building.
Okay, that is a pattern. And what you also saw are demons pacing. Ty Lee, he is engaged in strategic placing. This is a demon that's, look at they're in stride. They're in stride with the light activity, and they are in stride. These are demons that are acting together. This is psychotic. You have the satanic spirit over multiple people that are acting in sync, and they're strangers to one another. They're not getting up in the morning and having a meeting. Okay, we're going to do this, and then she's going to come out. Remember, the demons are monitoring me step by step, everything that I do as I do it. Okay, this is how you're understanding what is demonic activity. The people of the state, the government, are operating under the influence of a demonic spirit, and it's operating over a population, and they're doing so, which is readily identifiable through the demonic environment and the demonic behaviors that they are engaging in. You are looking at what are demons that are pacing together. This is a demon that is waiting, literally lying in wait conduct, but wanting to outwardly appear as though he is doing something else, focused on something else. That's called malice. You know that malice because the light source is over me, because engineer light is moving across a building, and that's never naturally happening, nor is that possibly the sun. That's the purpose of the P.O.C., the documentation of the unnatural environment. In addition to that, you pay attention to the behavior of the demon possessed. That is how you wind up up with what are mental examinations regularly. It will be routine with regard to the rehabilitation and the cleansing of the population that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the state of California. I want you to pay attention to this because Ty Lee is engaging in what is lying in wait conduct. This demon is waiting to engage in what is pacing. He's walking in the engineer light and the demon is driving in the engineer light. And then engineer light is also moving across the building. These demons are acting in sync, P.O.C, to monitor me together. That's the pattern of conduct, okay? It is currently, I just want to go through that analysis. It's currently 9:52 p.m. The Los Angeles Police Department, again, this is an ongoing threat to my life, an ongoing emergency. I want to make sure that I'm very clear. The more that I hone in on the demon possession of this entity, the more that I provide you what are, again, very vivid illustrations of what is, remarkable evidence, showing you very clearly so that you can recognize with your own eye, even if you lack that spiritual eye, to see the demon possessed, to recognize demon possession, demonic activity. And I'm also speaking to serving for the public, the criminalization of this demonic activity, because the government doesn't have a right to stalk you because they serve Satan. And that's exactly what this stalking is born of. This obsession is because the demon possessed are obsessed with me. I'm a child of God. I love the Lord. Okay. And I will never serve Jesus. And I just want to give you, I'm not here to preach. I'm just telling you the truth. This is demon possession. These are people that are, have a spirit of Satan on them. And this is what is the why. This is why. Okay. That doesn't make it okay. That does not in any way pacify it. And it's also entirely criminal. There's a way to prosecute it in a court of law with facts and evidence, which, as you see, we can all look at and review and analyze together. It's unmistakable and it is insurmountable, irreducible evidence. Tangible. Okay. So the entity is engaged in an ongoing threat to my life. The harassment, the aggression, the hostility, it continuously increases. It continues to grow while I am documenting this. And I just want to make sure that I am clearly advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual whose life is literally under threat while you're subject to this system. And so it is exhibited through the light activity. It's exhibited through the unnatural environment. It's exhibited through the malice with which the entity engages in the P.O.C. There is nothing that is anything less than a threat to your life while the people of the state look to the left and the right. They come on in front of your face in a lift vehicle, monitoring you, threatening your life with that corrupt law enforcement agency, harassing you, leave it clearly with their speech while they are hostile because they know that you're also documenting it. That's a psychopath that's engaging in lawlessness with an unwarranted and unfounded and literally a disconcerting level of disregard of your rights and hostility to your enforcement of your rights. While an entity, a criminal, is coming onto the grounds and delivering a package, you're not delivering a package. You're group stalking, engaging in terrorism in the shoes of the government with a high level of malice, in other words, with a complete disregard for the rights and the desires of another to not be subject to that, clearly because you're monitoring my documentation. And all of this is known and it is reasonably construed through the unnatural environment. That knowledge and that criminal conduct and that malice is all reasonably deduced from the specific environment that is never naturally happening. It is incapable to naturally occur. Okay, it is currently, again, 9:55 p.m. on Wednesday, May 29, 2024. I want you to hear that because those are the demon possessed that are engaged in group stalking while that light source remains over me. That's the significance of it. That's exactly what the demon possessed are doing. That's called amplification. And they're sex offenders that are engaging in mass surveillance while an entity keeps a light source over me for the duration of the day so that the demon possessed can engage in what is willy-nilly sexual violence by the masses. And that sexual violence is going to be individualized and afforded to each and every third party that lives at Alvarado Gardens. Okay, from Lucy Santos all the way to Tiffany Sherez of 1818 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6. Every single last one of them, because they are engaged in 24-hour surveillance while the demon-possessed are engaged in what is stalking in a helicopter, monitoring in concert with those that are remaining on 24/7 on the clock surveillance with the demons that are engaged in terrorism in concert with them, maintaining presence throughout around in relevant position in the third party residences in relevant position, and the demon possessed, the third parties that are pacing up and down Alvarado and on Effie and Avalon and Lobdell, maintaining presence, okay, doing so while all of that entity, all of that demon-possessed population are at the same time listening to me expose them. It does not get any more demented and sick and disturbing than that. That's amplification of audible activity of a demon that's also simultaneously expressing hostility. And you know that because the entirety of that environment is unnatural. And that pattern of conduct does not ever take a pause. Those sex offenders are listening and monitoring and keeping me under surveillance while my panties are down, molesting my body with engineered light because they are so obsessively engaged in stalking and keeping me under surveillance. Okay, that's a violent sex offense that the state of California is going to be prosecuted for. All right, just want to make sure that you understand that. I want to make sure I bring that home for purposes of prosecuting the state. It's 9:57 p.m. This is P.O.C.